All right, welcome back to another episode of the Breakthrough Bestie podcast, where we are exploring the intersection of faith, finances, and the decisions that shape our future. For those of you that are new here, I am your host, Angela Brock, and I am a money strategist for women who are ready to take control of their finances and build real wealth. Listen, April is National Financial Literacy Month. So, this whole month, we are diving into stories that go beyond the budget and go beyond the bank accounts. And we are talking about trust, obedience, stewardship, and breakthrough. Each episode is going to feature honest conversations where guests who have walked through their financial highs and lows, but all through it all, they have found God in the midst of it. Whether you are rebuilding, learning, thriving, these stories, it is my prayer that these stories will change, encourage, and equip you to handle your money with wisdom and in faith. And y'all, today, in this episode, I am just so excited because we are talking about moments that will stretch you, right, in your faith and your finances. I have Jen and Brody, the Campbells, Brody, as guests on this particular podcast, and they have been married for 6 years, and they bring a blend of creativity, connection to everything that they do. Jen is a luxury stylist at a high-end boutique, known for helping clients step into their confidence through fashion. Brody is a Houston-based photographer and works in youth ministry through a faith-based nonprofit called Young Life, investing in students and building strong community. Together, they care deeply about relationships, faith, living with purpose in the everyday. Listen, they have a story for you all, and it's all about alignment, discipline, and trusting God when the plan changes. So I'm excited to dive in. So welcome, Jen and Brody, to the podcast.
Thanks
Now,
for having
listen.
us.
Thank you for saying yes. Now we're gonna have a conversation, and I want you to start by telling the people, how did you guys grow up? And I guess maybe what was the conversation like in your household growing up about money?
Mm. Do you want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, I'll go first. So, growing up for me, it was very strict budget. My mom was raising 5 kids. If you count my dad, six, she would say. So she had everyone on a budget. I remember when I started working at the age of 16, she would literally take my paychecks and give me $20 for gas. And that used to drive me crazy. Very heavy, following Dave Ramsey, but they were like paid off their house in 7 years. They did all the things. And so my mom was just like really drilling that into us growing up. But because of that, at the age of 19, I was actually able to purchase my first condo. And I was like living already debt free by the age of 20 and living on my own, which it was annoying at 16, but at 19, the sacrifice really paid off.
That's unheard
Yeah.
of. I don't think I know of anyone who bought their first property at 19. So that's pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
it's very
Yeah.
rare, but again, very hard, strict mom.
Yeah.
It made
Yeah.
me sacrifice a lot, but I'm
Yeah.
thankful for those sacrifices for sure.
But-
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And then Brody, what about you?
I would say probably the complete opposite.
Okay,
My
okay.
mom, my mom was, she'd say herself, terrible with finances, and
Mm,
so I, she had me pretty young. She had me when she was in high school, and so having to grow up fast, having another mouth to feed as a child yourself, she made some really difficult and unfortunate and unwise financial decisions because she needed things now. She
yeah,
wasn't necessarily planning for the future. She didn't have an idea of what it could look like. She's trying to feed 2 mouths today, and so because of that, she made a lot of bad financial decisions. And as we got older and older and older, I think the lack of access or the lack of awareness of what to do, how to get yourself out of the hole, especially when that she was taught was
yeah,
put it on credit, pay the minimum, you know what I'm saying, do
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
She pretty much raised us indirectly to do the same. Like growing up, we didn't have a ton. We've definitely been foreclosed on before. And so it's one of those things where it's like I picked up my spending habits, even though she was saying do better than me. What I was picking up was just the action of it, like how we were living, like paycheck to paycheck. As
Yeah.
soon as we got it, we spent it.
Yeah.
And so I had my first job at 15 years old, because I wanted some new clothes. And I was like, Mom, what's up? She was like, that sounds like a you problem. You better go get a job because I can't do that for you. So even then, like, it's not like my mom was saying, hey, you gonna use this percentage to save, use this percentage to invest, use this
Mhm.
to give to tithe or whatever the case may be. None of that. I
Mm-mm.
was blowing money crazy. 15 years old, $200 hot in my pocket. I'm going straight to the mall.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And to get
so
something to eat, let's be clear.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Getting all the junk. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, and that pretty much carried me all the way up until my early 20s, up until I met Jen. At that point, like I was still living paycheck to paycheck, even though I was making pretty good money. Had probably around like 30K of school debt at that time with no degree to show for it. And so I kind of just felt like this rat race was just a part of
Of life.
life. That was just, it was as constant as God is, debt is also.
Right.
So that's kind of what I was living by.
And I think that that's kind of how some people are because for me, I didn't even know that there was a life that existed without debt. Like I just thought that that's just, I mean, you got taxes, debt,
Hmm.
bills,
Mhm.
that's it, right? That's just kind of how we were raised. Like, I don't think that if there was someone in my life growing up that was living debt free or had it together, we didn't know about it. I mean, we knew people who had money, we knew people who were doing well,
Right.
but how they were managing it, it wasn't discussed. Now, and we also knew people who were not doing well because their lights was off and they was at our house, or our lights was off and they was at their house, or their car got picked up. We just, it was a neighborhood
Right.
thing. So I get that. So two completely different upbringings. You guys meet, you know,
Yes.
find love. You
Hmm.
Right.
all decide to get engaged. I guess take me to the point, because now it's different when you meet people and you dating, right? And even if you're dating with a purpose, but then you decide, okay, the Lord has said this is my person. So you
Mhm.
get engaged, but now you're getting ready or you're preparing to merge your lives. I want you to take me back to your engagement season and what was
Mm.
happening in your lives financially and spiritually that was so significant.
Gosh. I guess to start off, we got engaged and married within 4 months. So that's yes, that's one. We knew we wanted to be married. We had been messing around, and it's like, no, like now is the time. We need to get our act right. So I think the moment we started acting right and realigned ourselves with the Lord, that's when favor really came through. So I think one was realignment.
Mhm.
Um, and then financially, it was like, okay, let's budget for our wedding. What kind of wedding do we envision? I knew I wanted to walk down the aisle. I knew I wanted like close friends and family. So we decided on a small wedding. And it was a lot of like, okay, this is my husband, so I can carry the load if need be financially. So I was willing to like, okay, this is what we can do. Let's do it. And then very soon we were like, oh wait, this real big money. And then that's when the faith really needed to step in. So we would pray and we would ask the Lord, like, okay, Lord, like, how are we going to pay for this engagement ring?
Mhm.
And it's little things like that where it's like you're believing and you're hoping for things. And the Lord is so sweet when you're obedient to what he calls you to do, right? And the Bible says that he who finds a good thing finds favor in the Lord.
Mhm.
I think with all of those things combined, the Lord really showed up. I remember we were literally having a conversation and I asked Bertie to go check the mail. And turned out I had a check in the mail for $3,000 from school that basically had closed down and I had overpaid my tuition because I had paid in full. And they sent me a check. Now, check this out. I was out of school for like 2 years at that point. I had no idea I had overpaid tuition. I had like, it's not like, oh, hey, by the way, you got money sitting here. They were just holding on to it. But because the school had shut down, they were basically giving everyone their money back.
Yeah. Yeah, it
That's
was wild.
good. That's wild. I love
But
those stories.
Yeah.
yes, and I really believe that it wasn't for the fact that we were seeking well, first that we realigned ourselves with the Lord, that we were
Mhm.
seeking the Lord and we were asking him like, Lord, we need you to provide. That's when his provision came. Because what were the odds that we were literally just having that conversation
Yeah.
and then literally 5 minutes later, the
Yeah.
Lord shows up?
Yeah. I think a big part of that equation though is just obedience.
Hmm.
Simply because we were shacking up and we was like, all right, if we gonna get married, if we want to start our marriage off right, we
Yes,
gotta take a few steps back and realign ourselves under how God, like placing God at the center of our relationship. And so
correct.
that required me to move out, which I was like, listen, this is an easy fix. Let's just go to the courthouse. Bing, bang, boom. We married. I ain't got to change addresses. Here we are. Happy days. Not the case. She wanted
I
much
was
more,
like,
and praise God that she did. But it required us to take a really big faith step when there
yes.
was no next step, like in
Wait, wait,
sight.
wait, 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 wait. I want to pause here because you said something, and I think that this is, I don't think many people really realize this or recognize this. So when you say yes, hey, I want to live for God, and we're going to
Mhm.
make him the center of our lives, and we're going to submit under him to everyone maybe looking in on your story, you had to take a couple of steps back to reset,
Correct.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for
We
sure.
That's what I mean about realignment.
Yeah,
Realignment, right? Because it's like, wait, I don't technically need to do this, but you all
right.
Right.
made a decision. Actually, if we're going to do this and we're going to have God to build through us, we got to make sure that the foundation is sturdy. And that may feel like me taking a couple of steps back. And as a man, I'm curious if you remember, what did that feel like for you in that season, not knowing what it was going to come out with, right? Because I mean, we believe, but
Right.
what risk it was to move out of your dwelling, to relay the foundation and trust in God that when you guys did come back, y'all are able to hit the ground running per se. So can you share a little bit about what you were thinking, maybe what God was dealing with for you, Brody, in that season?
Yeah, for sure. I was for sure apprehensive just from the logistical standpoint.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, okay, if we trying to save for a wedding that's expensive, even a cheap wedding is expensive.
Correct.
Mhm.
If we're saving money, am I supposed to move out, pay rent
Hmm.
to wherever, and wherever it is going to be, it ain't going to be cheap.
Hmm.
And you want me to do that for how long? Because we're trying to get married in 4 months.
Right.
Who gonna break? Who out here doing month to month leases in Houston? Like I'm thinking logistically,
Yeah.
who's doing this?
Correct.
How is this going to happen?
None of it made sense.
No, I'm like every avenue I'm thinking about, it's not leading to we getting married in February. And so we was just like, all right, Lord, you just gonna have to do something. We just gonna act in obedience here. And before we even knew it, we had met up with an older couple who we are like dear friends of ours, and they're like our bonus parents.
Yeah, they're incredible.
But during this time, we were just going over to their house for a dinner to check in, hang out, all the good stuff. And we on the way there, we were debating like, should we tell them the situation that we're in?
Right.
Because
It was
one,
very fresh.
yeah, it was very fresh, and it's also a little embarrassing. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? Because it's like not because we're having to take that step back. So now, we got to swallow our pride a little bit, humble
Hmm.
ourselves, and be like, if we're gonna do it right, we're gonna do it right, and we're gonna do it honest, and we
Yeah.
just gonna be upfront with this journey that we're on. So we go to them. Their name is the Wynette, Nancy and Scott Wynette. Why am I blanking? Jesus. And so we get to their house. We're catching up. And the moment they ask us how we're doing, we just emotionally vomit all over them.
Literally all
Everything
over
comes
them.
out. Everything comes out. And so I'm expressing my
Because they asked what we needed.
right. I'm expressing my like I'm just like, I don't know what to do. This is where we at. With I didn't even finish my sentence, and Scott says, "You can live with us. You can stay here as long as you need to."
Here's how good the Lord is. They lived 7 minutes from my condo
Yeah.
Oh,
where he
wow.
was moving.
So I mean, quality of life it immediately jumped because they lived in Broward Forest, nice
Uh-huh.
house,
Nice house.
beautiful home.
You
Very
was
nice.
winning. You came up.
It's,
Look,
it's better than where I'm coming from. I
correct.
say
Okay.
God is so good.
Had his own
Had my
room.
whole little wing. I had a whole little wing of the
I
house.
mean,
You know, I come in after a long day at work. They offer me glasses of wine like I've been
oh,
paying bills here. Crazy.
every night.
I mean, they legitimately treated me like their own son. And this
Yeah.
is as a black man with this old white couple. I'm just like, oh, this is for show God. It gotta be. And so in the midst of that, obviously we were able to save.
Hmm.
And so for me, I think to answer your question, I was completely in the dark, completely in
Yeah.
the dark. But I had this conviction that I think Jen led me to, like through the Holy Spirit, led me to in the
Yeah.
sense of like, I got enough sense to understand that I don't want to go into my marriage rotten. I don't want to go into my marriage bringing in disobedience,
Yeah.
bringing in pride, bringing in shame, bringing in condemnation.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, let me just go along with it and trust that the Lord gonna do something crazy because He got
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
He literally leaves me no choice. There's literally no choice. He has to do something.
Yeah.
I
And
love that.
so
I
I was
love that.
I was super duper encouraged when that happened.
Yeah. And I
So
think
yeah,
after that happened, it was just kind of like he kept showing
yeah,
up.
it was one thing after another.
He showed
Yeah.
up. We were believing for a beautiful space where we can get married. He showed up in that.
Hmm.
Somehow we managed to get the rate of a way smaller space,
A $16,000 space for 1,600.
which is like unheard of.
Yeah, it was
Just
wild.
because like a little miscommunication, but
Yeah,
God was just showing us favor after favor after
yeah.
favor. And we truly believe that it's because
Your
the
obedience.
Hmm.
the
Absolutely.
obedience that was at the beginning. Like once we finally decided, like, no, we need to do this right.
Yeah,
The Lord was like, okay, now you're ready. Here's what I have for you.
right,
And
right.
that's when favor started showing up and trusting in Him started showing up. And people started just giving just because they
Hmm.
wanted to bless
Yeah,
us.
I had a homeboy, tough season for him. He was engaged, and unfortunately, the engagement did not. It fell through.
Mm.
And so the ring, the engagement ring, he was like, you know, bro, you can have it, pawn it, whatever money you can get for it, go for it, dog. I mean, I'm like, sorry, I'm not plotting on your downfall, sir. I'm so
However,
sorry for your
comma.
loss. However,
How-
comma.
However,
Give me that ring.
comma.
Yeah, however, comma. I will happily take that to get whatever I can.
That's
Man.
right.
But I mean, that was just one scenario. It seemed like we barely came out of pocket for our wedding
Yeah.
because it was just crazy amounts of favor. I tell
Yeah.
people all the time, I've never experienced that much
Mm-mm.
favor of God
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah.
I hear about it at testimony services growing up in
Mhm.
church, but I'm like, oh, I'm living different out here now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It was
was
crazy.
it's
Go ahead,
beautiful.
Jib.
No, I was just gonna say it's that, and like I'm remembering too all the other things that people were just handing us. It felt like obviously through God, but it was like the Winettes paid for our cake, which I'm sure everyone knows wedding cakes are not cheap.
Hmm.
Okay, we got our catering paid for, which is like one of the
Most expensive
most
line
expensive
items. Yeah.
things when you're planning a wedding, and
Yeah.
it's just like wow, God, like all we have to do is be obedient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? Because somebody will listen to this and they'll just be like, oh man, if I trust God, people will pay for stuff for me. That's not the lesson. That's not the takeaway, right? I think it was your obedience, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, your obedience to wanting to please God in
Correct.
every area of your life allowed the Lord to bless y'all beyond anything that you could have even imagined or even think about. And had you all done it your own way, you
Hmm.
it would have cost you so much more. And I'm not just talking about, and I'm not, I believe that people would have still been generous, and I believe that you would have still found favor. It would have been
Yeah.
different though, if you would have done it your own way, gone to the courthouse, not taken a step back, let your pride win. You would have been blessed, but it would have been different. And I think that the lessons that you learned in that season literally laid the foundation that would carry you through multiple seasons
Man,
Absolutely.
after you guys got married, right?
absolutely.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree 100%. And it wasn't like we were doing the things because we knew the Lord was going to do these things. We
Right.
didn't know what
Yeah.
the Lord had for
Yeah.
us.
Didn't know.
So
Had
let's
no
be
clue.
very clear. It
Yeah.
was like we were obedient. Lord, this is what we want. This is what we desire. This is what we're praying for. And in faith, God was just like, okay, I have something actually better for you.
Yeah.
That's
Big time.
good. That's good. All right, so we get it. You guys got married. You trust God. Y'all finally move in together. Praise the Lamb. We're under one roof. What
Mhm.
was the
Mhm.
first year of marriage life like? What changed for you all um, that first year of marriage?
So we got married February of 2020.
Okay.
We all know what happened in
Sorry,
2020.
March,
Right.
COVID. Hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
We decided to go on our honeymoon, which was
Like a
also
month
paid
later,
for.
we went March
March.
13th, and
Hmm.
if anybody
March it
remembers,
down.
March 15th was when the U.S. shut down all borders and all travel,
Correct.
and so we had left right before. Because I said I'm going on this honeymoon. I'm going on
Right.
this honeymoon.
Right.
But my Lord Jesus, yeah, it was. I mean, fresh newlyweds. We
Hmm.
get back home from honeymoon, and when we get back home, we're coming home to completely different country at this point.
Right.
Like everything is shut down. Everybody's on quarantine.
Yes.
Um, and my job, I was able to pick up my computer equipment to set up, my little setup at home. And to give a little backstory, during this time, like during our engagement season, the Lord had been romancing my heart toward full time ministry, which I was like, that's an immediate no. That's an absolute
Which telling the Lord no
yeah.
is
I was like, I'm not
You
doing
know,
that.
after all the stuff that he just did, I'm not
I
going to
was
do
like,
this though.
yeah, yeah, I'm not
nah,
doing
I'm
that
good.
though. I said, I didn't already moved out now. Okay, now you want me to do? No, I'm not doing all that. And so, fast forward, after many times where God is like pointing toward at least like a youth ministry, like some kind of involvement with youth ministry, not necessarily full time ministry, but it was presented to me before we got like maybe a month before we got
Hmm.
married. The person who I'm under now, to make a long story short, he was like, "Hey, I believe the Lord is calling you to full time ministry through this young life," and I'm like, maybe He's calling me to volunteer. Maybe He's calling me to do that. I think that's really what we're trying to say here. And so she's like, "Okay, well, how about you just pray about it? Just pray about it. Seek the Lord about it." She's like, "I'll pray about it just to make sure I heard right, and then we'll just kind of double back in a couple weeks, whatever the case may be." So I was like, cool, sure. I'll walk away from that conversation being like, that lady's funny. I'm not praying for that because I already know the answer. I'm not doing that. Fast forward, leading up to honeymoon, I decided to pray about it. And I'm like, all right, Lord, if you want me to do this full-time ministry,
Yeah.
you gonna have to make it, you're gonna have to write it in the sky. Like make it clear as day.
Hmm.
And I left and went on my honeymoon and didn't think twice about it.
And sorry to interrupt, but I feel like this is important because I feel like a lot of guys think this. One of the reasons engagement was prolonged because Brody was like, I need to get my finances together because I'm gonna be a husband. I need to be the man. So
Mhm.
it was like when we think about it now, we easily could have been like married like 6 months after we met because we knew
Yeah.
immediately we wanted to marry each other.
Yeah.
But because of our disobedience, we ended up dating for 2.5 years. But one of the reasons was because Brody was just like, no, I need to get my life together. I need to get this. I need to get all my ducks in a row financially. And
Yeah.
just it never happened.
Yeah.
So that's why ministry was also so daunting for him because he was like, that's a huge pay cut. I'm about to be a husband.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean going
Absolutely.
into ministry?
Not doing that. So we get home from honeymoon, world different, set up at home. A week of working from home,
Literally a week.
I get laid off. They lay off like 80% of our department. I'm one of them. And so I remember feeling like this overwhelming sense of peace about it. Like as I'm reading the letter, like the layoff letter, I'm just kind of like, okay. All right, Lord, I see you. I mean, immediately I knew it was God. Cause I'm like, I ain't even got My I'm still glowing from honeymoon. The honeymoon glow ain't even off yet, and I'm unemployed. I'm a fresh on the job as a husband for a month, and I am unemployed,
Right.
and I'm not freaking out at all. The first thought that comes to mind is like, I need to call Rachel, who's the woman who told me I was going to go into full time ministry under Young Life. I was like, I need to call this woman because I don't know what her prayer life is like. I don't know who. I don't know her and God like this because my like it's just crazy. I
The
call
right
her.
line go crazy.
I call her, and I'm like, hey, I don't. Apparently, I am wide open for full time ministry. Ain't nothing getting in the way now. Nothing. I ain't got to worry about insurance. I ain't got to worry about pay cut. God made that decision for me.
For me. Mhm.
So I was like, all right, here we go. And so she was like, perfect. I already got, the majority of your information set up. Fill the rest of this out. Your start day is September 1st. So
Literally.
from April 1st to September 1st, I just spent at home,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so that was a massive life change. I mean, I think when I presented it to Jen, before I said yes to Young Life, I was like, I think I'm gonna go into full time ministry. Maybe. And Jen was like, do you feel like the Lord is calling you to do this? And I was like, yeah, I feel like he's making it painfully clear at this point. And she's like, okay, well, do that. Be obedient. Like,
Yeah.
don't worry about the money. Don't worry about what our finances gonna look like.
Mm-hmm.
You just be obedient. As long as you're obedient, like we're covered as a family under
Yeah.
this household. We'll be covered if you're obedient.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, well, just call me Brokey. Here we are. Holy Brokey, Holy Brokey Brody. So I
Oh
was just
my
like, all right, let's
goodness.
do this.
Yes. So
So then
very
let me
crazy.
ask you, Jen, like, so during this piece, so it sounds like you said all the right things, right? You supported him. I know you were praying for him. What
Right.
was it like for you internally knowing that, I mean, you saved up, you bought your first house, now you're married, had this beautiful wedding, like all the things, and then God is now testing you um in this particular area. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I don't know that I would actually call it a test because I had so much peace. I think because I saw my parents do it, I already kind of knew what needed to be done. So
Mhm.
my first instinct was like, okay, what can we logistically cut back, practically cut back, so we can kind of make up for that income? So we immediately went
Straight to
into
budgets.
straight to budgets. It was like, okay, what meal plans? Like, I'm rice and beans bestie over here. Okay. I can stop getting my nails done. Like, that easily saves us like $300 a month or
Mhm.
more. And just really knowing and understanding, because I saw my mom sacrifice so
Mhm.
much and not do so much, I was like, oh, I know it's possible. And I'm not raising 5 kids, so we can
Yeah.
easily do this. So if
Yeah.
anything, I was like, let me just tighten my belt real quick and we're gonna be
Yeah.
okay. Like, we're really
Okay,
gonna
so
be okay.
you
And
didn't, oh
I was
sorry,
still on.
so you didn't think that it was a test. Brody, did you feel like this was a testing season for you?
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
I said, Lord, you taking me out of the deep end here.
Yeah.
For real. I'm like, I don't know the first thing about full time ministry.
Yeah.
And at this point in my life, brother ain't never had no budget. Brother ain't never had to cut back on something.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm everything about my life was changing
Mhm.
2020.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, every
Mm-hmm.
aspect of it. My relationship with money, my relationship with debt, obviously like being vulnerable because talking about money, talking
Yeah.
about like the debt that you have is a very vulnerable and intimate thing. And so even then with a brand new wife, I'm just kind of like still like wrestling with like I need to be vulnerable enough to look like I don't know what I'm talking about. Like I don't know what to do
Yeah.
as a husband. Like I don't know how to provide. Like I don't know how to manage. That's a scary place to be in. And I'm jumping into something completely different from what I was doing in corporate
Mm-hmm.
America. Absolutely felt like a test.
Yeah.
How did you guys stay unified in your decisions during that time?
Constant communication.
Hmm.
I think because we had a budget, and we were actually starting to do Financial Peace University that my
Mhm.
brother was like leading. So we were doing those classes. So it
Hmm.
kind of like helped us put that conversation in the top of our minds
Hmm.
every week because we were already kind of doing a class together
Hmm.
anyways. And I think having those conversations in the group made it comfortable to sit down one on one and break down a budget, like, hey, this is what we can do. And I personally wanted to empower him as a man. So I'm like, babe, you're going to take care of the finances. This is what we have coming in. You budget, you do the every dollar. And
Hmm.
we like, I'll let, like, I wanted to make sure he didn't feel like he wasn't providing. And he was
Mhm.
providing in many other aspects too, but
And
I
with men,
trusted him.
it's the income, right? That they feel like they need to provide that. So even if you weren't necessarily bringing in the income, you're providing the strategy, and that is
Correct.
equally as important.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Correct.
that's
So I
good.
think that really helped. I wanted to empower him as the husband to be like, okay, this is our budget. This is what we've allocated for XYZ. You can get your nails done this month. You can
Hmm.
get your hair cut this month. We've got a little fun money set aside for
Hmm.
you. Here's what you have
Yeah,
saved up. Here's how much you have left. Like he
Yeah.
was in charge of everything.
that's good.
Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
think.
love Financial Peace University. I tell people though, I failed it twice because I did it to get something, but I didn't
Mhm,
really grasp the concepts of Financial Peace University. This is nothing
mhm,
negative about Financial Peace University. It is a great tool for anyone listening if that's something that you desire. For me, and maybe just because whenever I found out about Financial Peace University, I was already in big people debt. Like I don't know why it didn't stick for me.
mhm.
But I know that Financial Peace University has been quite impactful. And I believe in your story when you guys were talking about Financial Peace University, did I read somewhere that you guys paid off like $26,000 worth of debt in like something crazy? How many months was it?
I mean,
Gosh,
oh
it
Lord, this
probably.
woman. Sorry, my mama calling.
I
I'm gonna call her back. Um, so for us, it
think
was,
8 months.
yeah. I mean, I guess you can say from
The math wasn't
May.
mathing, is what all I know.
Yeah, I guess you could say from like May to December. Like before
Yeah.
2020 was over, we were completely debt free.
That's crazy. I love this story because that was similar to mine when the world was shutting down and it did not make sense. And I
Hmm.
know that it was a trying time for so many,
Yeah.
but some people actually thrived
Yeah.
Yes.
We
during
did.
2020. And it's like,
Yeah.
that ain't nobody but God, right? Like, because the world was in literal, complete, utter chaos
Yeah.
and people were losing their jobs, people were getting laid off. Like, I mean, but
Yeah.
then somehow the math multiplied that same year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a
Yes.
So
blessing.
we're still operating as a one income household
Okay.
throughout. And then anything that Brody was getting from
Unemployment.
unemployment,
Hmm.
it was just going straight to savings. So whatever
Hmm.
extra we could use from our budget to save with my income, we were saving on top of his. So we were going really aggressive. And again, that meant we were cutting back on eating out. We were being very strategic about what we were eating. And thankfully, Birdie also became the chef of the family too and started cooking. So we were eating at home. Um, and again, I wasn't getting my nails and all the little things that I knew I could easily cut back on, um, and sacrifice in a sense, because all the things that we do extra are like treats, but it's really sacrifice.
Yeah.
I was wondering if
Um,
you were going to use that word because a lot of times, whenever I talk with clients or anybody about a budget, right, they don't want to sacrifice, right? Their mindset is, I work too hard. You only
Hmm.
have one life, fill in the blank, right? And this is a sacrifice that keeps people from really focusing in on how they're spending their money, how they're managing the money. They're not willing to do that. Now, do you think the sacrifice was worth it?
yeah, I mean, even thinking back when I was 16, if I had a whole paycheck, I probably would have been doing the same thing Brody was doing at 15, which is blowing it. But the sacrifice that my mom literally forced me to do in taking my money and just giving me gas money, because clearly this is back in the day, filling up a gas tank with $20. But like that sacrifice led me to just 3 years later to
Yeah.
buy a complete 2 bedroom, 2 bath condo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so
And
good.
I had a big sacrifice. So, and I think that's why in adulthood, it was so easy for me to register like, okay, if I cut back on this, if I don't do this, I can get there faster. And I was motivated to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think for me, coming from a household that like was not familiar with that level of sacrifice, um, I would say it was an adjustment for me. But I will say financial, like going through the classes helped, because it gave me some kind of tool to at least start with, right?
Hmm.
Like I think the concept of budgeting is not difficult. Like it's a very easy idea
It really is.
Yeah.
to put into practice, right? But it's one I will say like COVID helped that because we
Hmm.
ain't going out as much. You know what I'm
True.
saying?
We in the house.
We in the house. Also, we because we're on one income. I'm like, yeah, that math is mathing. If less money is coming in, we need to keep this. Like, we need to make this dollar stretch. Like, we need to make sure this dollar has a long life cycle. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And so I think for me, like when Jen was saying she was empowering me to do it, I feel like every little win that we would get, because
Oh
we were
gosh.
also
Doing
doing like the debt snowball
Yeah,
thing. That's a
that's so
big part of the
fun.
financial peace university class is the debt snowball. So those like little wins, I'm very competitive. And so for me, I'm like, oh, we got that done. All right, bet. Let's hop on the
Hit that other
next one.
one.
Like let's and so in our condo, we Jen had like this chalk wall. And so we like
Drew a
had
graph.
like we drew like a graph or like a meter of how much debt we were paying off. And seeing it get filled up like that,
It's such a good feeling.
I mean, we loved it so much. We didn't
We never took it
we
down.
never took it down. Even after we paid it off, we never erased it because
Yeah.
it's like that's such a rewarding feeling.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I've always seen how like my mom would sacrifice and she would not be in a better position.
Mm,
I would see how she would like
that's
sacrifice
good. Yeah.
and get discouraged and she falls
Wow.
right back into the same like spending habits. And so
Mhm.
for me, I'm like, what's the point in sacrificing if it ain't doing nothing, right?
Yeah.
But I think this scenario was a bit different because we got all kinds of tools. I mean, literally her whole family are very financially literate. And
Mhm.
so for me, I'm like, oh, I got all kinds of resources. I got all kinds of support. And I'm not doing this by myself. I think that helped a lot as well.
Yeah.
But the sacrifice part of it, it was like at one point in time, it's like, oh, what else can we sacrifice? What can we get rid of
Yeah.
around the house? Because progress is like legitimately being made.
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
felt like I was at a standstill for so long, kind of putting a little bit here, sacrificing a tiny bit here with no consistency. But I felt like we were consistent that entire time.
Yeah.
And seeing the results of it, it's like, oh, bro, let's get this going. Let's push it. Let's push this
Yeah.
as quick as we can.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting when we talk about faith and finances, there's such a parallel, right? To how you sacrifice in order to see your finances grow, whether you're saving money, investing, or just, managing well. There's a
Mhm.
similar parallel sacrifice that you make when you're trying to deepen your faith and your relationship with God. You have to sacrifice your flesh. You have to
Yep.
sacrifice your wants. You have to sacrifice the way you think about God, the way you think about maybe religion and what you have to die and bury some of those things in order to have a new life, a new relationship with God that is rooted in new beliefs. And that is a sacrifice because, you know, I believe wholeheartedly that in order for you to trust God fully, you have to sacrifice your own control over a situation and surrender it completely. And I think that if you can, once you all get y'all money together, it's the same level of discipline that you just switch out finances for faith. for fitness.
Mm.
Like, I think it's the same practice. Um,
Yeah.
for me, I financed, my faith was strengthened first so that I was able to leverage that when I was trusting God with my finances, right? But some people, it may be a little bit different. So I'm going to ask you all, what did you learn about God as a provider, not just in theory, but in
Hmm.
actual practice during this particular season?
That's a good
I
question.
think for me, I really saw what stewardship can do. I
Mm,
think God is always providing, right? That's
right.
just his nature. Is one of
That's
like
good.
he's always providing. It's not like, oh, because I missed a meal, God don't provide. No, you still got breath in your lungs. You
Yeah,
still got energy to move around. You
That's
still got
good.
energy to walk and move and work and
That's good.
and use the resources and the tools to get stuff done as a means to an end. You still got all of that. And you talking about God don't provide? He absolutely provides.
Right.
Now, for somebody who may be hurting in their pockets, that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But I think again, you got to shift that posture, shift that perspective in the sense of like leaning into gratitude in general. You'll start to see how much God provides. And then when you start to see how much he provides, it should encourage you to be a good steward over what he's giving you because he ain't got to give it to you.
that's
Yeah.
so good. That's good,
And
Jen.
so,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it just made me feel like God was trustworthy, if that makes sense.
mhm.
Like he's worthy to be trusted in the fact that he's a provider. And I think it has a lot to do with my upbringing. So when we were presented with this scenario, um, it was easy for me to think like, okay, Lord, I've seen you do it again. I've seen you do it. I trust that you will do it again, if that makes
That's,
sense.
no, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. Man, listen, I could keep talking about this. I have enjoyed this so, so, so much. If there is one tip, one piece of advice, one nugget, one affirmation that you want to give or that you could give to the people that are listening to this, even if it's a call to action, what would that be?
Don't be afraid of the sacrifice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I would I would say I would say don't just give God a piece of whatever you're believing for, like give him all of it.
Hmm.
I feel like it's if I did not have enough faith that he could provide, it's kind of hard for me to trust him and give him this financial issue or this financial transition we were going through. And I personally feel like we wouldn't have found a lot of breakthrough in our finances if I didn't make the decision to give everything
Hmm.
to him. So, not just your money, not just this part of your life, not just this
Yeah.
part. I got to give you everything.
Yeah.
So, give it all to him.
Oh, that is so, so good. Listen, this conversation is just a reminder that favor isn't random, right? I believe that favor is, um, it is, it goes hand in hand with trusting God, and the struggle, the trials are not pointless. There's nothing that is wasted. There are seasons where God will pour out, and then there are seasons where God will stretch you. And sometimes those seasons happen back to back. And what stood out to me about your story isn't that the breakthrough wasn't just in paying off the debt. It wasn't just in what you received by blessings from other people. It was how you both learned how to trust God, how to move together as a unit, how to stay
Mhm.
aligned, even when life, things, decisions did not always go as planned. And I think that that's the beauty of it all. So, in
Mhm.
this episode, if it challenged you, don't just take notes, take action. And if you're a part of our membership community, stay tuned, check the membership portal because we're going to go even deeper into this conversation that doesn't, and there's going to be stuff that will not make it into the main episode. So I will see you next time on the next episode of the Breakthrough Bestie podcast. Hey, so if this video helped you to see your money differently, I want you to subscribe so that you can continue building habits that lead to real wealth. I want you to remember these two things. One, breakthrough starts when you decide to take control. And then two, wealth is not built by accident, it is built by the decisions that you make today. I'll see you next time.